this is Matt once again. We're back to another video. It's another paid request, this time for Sylvia. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos or topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. I will try to get to it as soon as I can. And Sylvia had another topic. What if Andy Barclay, the character, was in Bride and Seed of Chucky? Now, my first thought was, don't make them at all. Child's Play works fine as a trilogy. Just Child's Play 3 I liked. I've always liked the film. I always thought it was a good way to end it. An older Andy Barclay. Fairly well played by Justin Whalen. Chucky just chopped up the pieces. Andy Barclay becomes the protector. Instead of the kid who needed protecting. He's now the more grown adult compared to this kid he's protecting. In a weird way, come full circle on that. The carnival amusement park facility, neat background. Could be utilized more. There's a cool way to end the movie, and again, Chucky just chopped up the pieces. You didn't need any more movies. So my first thought is don't make them. But I guess the question is, if you have to make Bride of Chucky, let's say Bride of Chucky has to be made regardless. And there's a lot of, I mean, the topic is if Andy Barclay was in it. I'm not big on either Bride or Seed of Chucky. I do think Seed of Chucky is worse, and I think whether Andy Barclay was in it or not, it would not be a better movie. Because I just don't care for the direction it went in to be even more and more goofy, even more silly, even more comedic, to the point of Seed of Chucky, you have a doll that pisses his pants. The very first scene is a doll, you pissed your pants, you pissed your pants. So all that shit had to go out the window. But baby, okay, again, the top is if Andy Barclay was in it. Maybe it's years later and there's the evidence locker, Jennifer Tilly. I would recast because I don't think Jennifer Tilly's that great of an actress. I would get a better actress. Andy Barclay hears about it and he's like not quite a bounty hunter, but he hears about it and he's on the hunt. And like I said, there's a lot of things that change about Bride of Chucky. The two lead characters in that really were not that interesting. I didn't care about their love story. I didn't care about them getting together or anything in between of what happened. Maybe if he brought back Justin Whalen, because I do think he was a better, older Andy Barclay. Because I think, I forget his name. He played the Alex Vincent. He was a good kid actor. I do not think he's a good adult actor. I don't. I think he's very wooden. I think he's very stiff. I think he's very too dry in his dialogue delivery. I think Justin Whalen was a better actor. So I would somehow, if there's some way to get him back, because I think he's much more natural compared to Alex Vincent. You know, Alex Vincent was great as a kid actor, not so much as an adult actor. So honestly, I would get Justin Whalen back for number one if you have to have Andy Barclay. Number two, have be like at some hunt where he's chasing them down while the events of Bride of Chucky are happening. If it has to be Jennifer Tilly, she obviously has to have some animosity towards Andy Barclay, because if she's such in love with Charles, and then this is the guy who kept taking him away from her, even in his Chucky form, she must have some kind of animosity towards him. But I don't know, maybe in some way she does at first, but then she starts to warm up to Andy because, in a way, maybe she'll see that they're both victims while she's a victim in this kind of Harley Quinn type of infatuation. Like Harley Quinn has for Joker, she has this for Chucky, and she's antagonistic towards Andy Barclay. They have this back and forth butting of heads until eventually she realizes that they both have a sordid history with Chucky that's lasted for a long time, and then maybe ultimately that leads to her turning on Chucky. Maybe you have the two kids and Andy Barclay's protecting them at the end. Andy Barclay's the one that shoots him. And yeah, it's very tough because not having Andy Barclay and Bride or Seed of Chucky is not what makes those films, in my opinion, weak. I'm not a big fan of Jennifer Tilly. I'm just not a big fan of the comedic, goofy direction, the reading for dummies, running joke that's in a lot of these later Chucky stuff. Thanks to Don Mancini. Don the Fettuccine, Don Mancini. Just not a fan of his work. I know he considers Child's Play 3 to be the weakest. No, I highly disagree. Much better to me than Bride, Seed, Curse, Cult, or the... That's the thing, Andy Barclay was in Curse briefly, and Cult of Chucky and the TV show. That didn't improve that. Because, Alex Vincent's not a good adult actor, and number two, it didn't matter if Andy Barclay came back. It was this... It ran its course. There was no more story left to tell with Chucky. I actually prefer the reboot from, 2019 or so? I forget what year it came out. Can't remember what year now I think about it. But I much prefer that over these recent stuff. But yeah, I guess if you had to have Andy Barclay maybe in that format and then Seed of Chucky, I wouldn't even know, because that whole plot of the kid, and maybe that could be like the kid's with Chucky and he's treated poorly by Chucky and Tiffany, or they do treat him well but it's this horrific stuff, but then when Chucky and Tiffany do their thing, Andy finds him and then they kind of bond, and then this, I forgot what the fuck his name was, Glenn, because of Glenn or Glenda. Then he's like choosing which father figure should he have. This is his actual father, Chucky, but then this other one, Andy, has treated him so well, treated him so respectfully. Like, Chucky is his blood, but Andy's who he wants to be. And then maybe it becomes this, who does the kid choose? Does the kid choose Andy Barclay, or does the kid choose Chucky? Do you choose your blood, or do you choose the person that, the moral... Do you choose the blood way or the moral dilemma way? Maybe that could be put into place, maybe. I'd say it's a very tough thing to think about, because it would take a lot to fix, especially Seed of Chucky. Like, don't maybe have the doll piss his pants. Does Red Man need to be in there? Do we have to have even more of Jennifer Tilly? Or as I call it, Jennifer Titties? Because I think they have more talent than her acting. And there's some movies I could deal with her in, but I just don't think she's that great of an actress. I'm not big on her voice or their mannerisms. She talked like this. Not for me. Not a bad looking lady, don't get me wrong, but just not a fan of hers. That's it, acting wise. If you don't build up to Chucky and Seed of Chucky saying, you know what, I don't need to find a body anymore, I'm used to this, I'm Chucky the Killer Doll, maybe a little bit more development script wise on that front. Or maybe a movie's being made, and what if Chucky and Tiffany are killing people on a movie set? They're making movies, and they wanted Andy Barclay as a technical advisor, and he said no. But then there's something going on, and he becomes a technical advisor, but at the same time he's watching. Because if he tells what's happening, they would put him in the nut house. So maybe you look into the behind the scenes of making a movie where he is advising this film being made that's based on a true story but isn't, and you see just how much things change. Wait a minute, that didn't really happen. That didn't really happen. That's not how it happened. And you do really give maybe a satiric look at Hollywood, maybe that front. And so while he's on this technical advising, he's watching to see what's happening next. And then he causes problems behind the scenes to get the film shut down to protect people, and then, trying to find a way. Because again, you can't just outright tell. Yes, you just show people, but, there's always a thing with movies. You can't make them... I don't... That's the thing, it was a very tough topic to think about because, like I say, Brian and Seed have a lot of things we need to change, but just having Andy Barclay in there. But that was what the topic was. I would say, again, for Bride of Chucky, maybe be him hearing about he keeps tabs on the Chucky doll. Just he's got a little paranoid streak on him, which you can't blame him. After the first three movies. And then again, he's on the hunt. He's a little bit like Donald Pleasance in Halloween 4, where he's chasing Michael Myers to Haddonfield while Andy Barclay's chasing him. He becomes sort of a Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis type of thing, maybe. And then again, Seed of Chucky, again, maybe go... If the very beginning of the film is the two, Chucky and Tiffany, as dolls on a movie set, maybe embellish that more. Because they gotta forget about that. Like, they bring it up and then they unhook themselves and they kill someone. Or eventually they kill someone. But then they kind of don't really pay much attention about the movie portion of it anymore. So, and sorry about all the background noise, just how it is here. But yeah, maybe if you incorporate that into it, maybe, again, you could have more satiric nature and less of the Glenda... Let's have a cameo by the John Waters in there just because. Not have Chucky masturbating and jerking off, or in the, fucking Britney Spears weird, but it's not Britney Spears, cameo and Seed of Chucky, and Glenn doing kung fu because his doll is made in China, or whatever the fuck. Just a very poorly written movie. Again, so I would advise just don't have Andy Barclay in there because, like I said, him being in there wouldn't help those movies. And that's the thing, Chucky is one of those things I did not need. Not every horror icon needs to continue again and again and again. And now we have, what, a Chucky season 3? Just for some fucking reason, there's so much story to tell of Chucky than these 3 goddamn seasons of a show. For some fucking reason. Never thought I'd see the day that you'd have to have 3 seasons of a fucking Chucky show. Where Sally Brad Dourif sounds like his age. He's 70-some years old, he sounds his age. And just let it go. Just move on. And I liked the Child's Play reboot. I actually thought that was a fresh turn. I liked that Chucky really wanted to be friends with Andy, and they really were buddies, and it was like a single white female type of situation where if anybody, or even maybe not that, but just this type of thing where if anyone tries to hurt Andy, he'll protect Andy. To me, a much better version of Maiden, because Maiden just ripped off everything with the Child's Play reboot. It really did. So, only Child's Play reboot was gorier, I thought better filmed, more interesting in terms of lighting and color schemes, better acting on the lead kid, and so forth. So, but yeah, that's all I got for now. Sorry about that, Sylvia. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, Andy Barclay, like I say, he was in a cameo in what, Curse? And then what? He shot a doll. Cult of Chucky, he smoked weed, smoked pot with the head of a Chucky, then got trapped in a fucking asylum, and then I guess escaped in whatever the hell he's doing in the TV show. They kill him off, but he's not killed off, whatever the fuck. Hey, Dominic, do you actually have an end Or you're just making shit up out of your ass, which I'm guessing is the case. So, how about have other people, if you have to do Chucky, have someone other than Don Mancini deal with it. Tom Holland, the director of the original Friday Night, helped shape the original Child's Play to what it is. It's not all just you, Don Mancini. So, that's my thoughts on it. Thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again, Sylvia. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.